What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. What you waiting for?
It must be another Sunday evening, 6 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Mervyn Britto Show. My name is Mervyn Britto, and as always, I am joined in the studio with some friends and colleagues and legends. I actually wanted to introduce or start the show off with some rock and roll music. That's something that really puts me in the mood, puts me in a very, very good mood. So like Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue, or Creed, or Led Zeppelin. Get the show going on a high. Some of my favorite rock bands, some good music to start us off with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the very, very approachable, contactable, what's the words I'm looking for people to contact us?
Connected.
That's what we're looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio, we have the one and only Mr. Ajoy Barreto. I'm going to give you a round of applause.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you.
We are joined by two other lovely people. That's Wilbert Cardozo and Nidhi Doshi. Joanne, my wife, is here.
I'm not lovely.
Lovely, Joanne. But more importantly, I've got a legend, somebody I've admired, somebody I've looked up to for a very, very long time. He is a legend. He's the man they call, and I'm not going to introduce him right now. We're going through a storm right now, so at the end of the storm, I'm going to introduce him. I don't know if you guys watched what we posted. We've posted a caricature of a couple of people, and I'd love to know, before I say his name, if you can guess who that handsome gentleman was in the picture with me. 100 points, yeah? As always, you can get in touch with us. You can call us 750-724-6246. That is a number that we'd love you to dial to get in touch with us. All our social media handles: Facebook, X, Instagram, WhatsApp. We're going to be streaming a lot of this content in a podcast format on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon. We put out some information earlier today because we had a couple of glitches, and I have to say thank you in a very, very special way. Ajo, you've worked your socks off. Joanne, you've worked your socks off. Nidhi, who's somebody new who's joined us, who's going to focus on fixing some of these problems we've had, technical problems. We didn't broadcast the last 2 Sundays because we wanted to come back stronger and better than ever, and hopefully that's what today's show's all about. So we've posted a couple of things, a couple of uploads on the social media handles on Instagram, right? I can see it. I've already seen it. Ajoy.
Yes, Mo.
What is, so we've got a couple of hiccups that we've overcome. You've got us to a point right now with the help of a couple of these people, and I genuinely want to say thank you for all the hard work.
It's a team. It's a team effort.
It is. There's no I in team. Very well said. There are a couple of social media posts that have been put out, and you will see them. Joanne, yeah, Bolam, tell me.
You know what? Coming back to that caricature, I think Joanne is going to give you the caricature on the phone. Could you focus it on the mic so that everybody could see?
It's already been posted on social media. Joanne, you want to explain who this is? Listen, there's only one hand, so I'm going to try and hold this right in front of that. You won't be able to focus on it, yeah?
It's very focused, actually. Right now it's going out of focus.
You can see my bald head. You can see my bald head, but that gentleman in saffron is in my studio, and I'm so excited to entertain. Welcome and have him entertain us all. I'm going to wait and keep you in some more suspense, yes? We've got some very turd weather out there right now. Horrible they keep calling it a storm, and it's not the monsoon because we haven't had our pre-monsoon weather yet. I have been asked by many people, is this climate change? It's the calm before the storm. What the heck is going on?
What's going on about this title, today's show? What storm are we talking about, Mark?
Is it a storm in a teacup? That's what I want to know.
A storm in a teacup. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't hold this anymore. I have loved and I've admired, and I wanted to speak to this guy for a very long time. The one and only Mr. Walter Lobo.
Yay.
Yay.
Saiba, it is unfair that you get older and better looking. And when I get older, I'm getting bald and less better looking. What is the secret, Saib?
I just found a new way to hot mix my hair.
Hot mix, huh?
Pretty good, yes. I call it hot mix. It lasts longer than the government hot mixes the roads in Goa. God damn it.
Listen, I've mentioned that they generate Wilbert and Joanne and Nidhi have worked very hard. And I said, I was trying to get in touch with this man, and it would have been easier for me to get in touch with Dr. Pramod Sawant or even Narendra Modi, because I contacted you. I wanted some information, background, and then we had to CGI, we had to generate this image in saffron. And I put into the system, I said, give me the most handsome gentleman with a mustache in a saffron top, and guess who popped up? And it looks like you, huh? Same with this, no?
Yeah, pretty good.
So with the hot mix, yeah?
Yes.
You look as wonderful as ever. Walter, I got to tell you, I am a huge fan. I've been a fan for a long time because I've never gotten to explain to you what this show is all about. It's called the Mervyn Britto Show because we broadcast here from Goa, and it's something that I love and I'm passionate about. But this show is specifically about anybody with a connect to Goa. So you're a total Goenkar, I'm a total Goenkar, but you've got loads of people that have come through here, Europeans, travelers, tourists, Indian, European, that have had experiences in Goa.
Yes.
And this show is to get everybody together, your opinion, your voice, different issues that are happening all the time, good, bad, or ugly. This show is a platform and a forum for people to get together. I can't think of a better person than you, somebody who's been around here for a long, long time, who's been very passionate. Everybody and their uncle knows Mr. Walter Lobo. I'm not going to say an activist, but you have always voiced your opinion very succinctly, very clearly about things that are happening here, good, bad, or ugly. Before we get into anything, I want to know more about you, your background. Where did you grow up with?
I grew up in Kalangut, but our family settled in Kalangut after the plague in old Goa. We came sitting on camels. That's why the main beach area in Kalangut is called Untvado.
Unt is camel, no?
Unt means camel.
Okay.
So we came sitting on camels with our saint. That was tradition. You had put your saint down first, put his house, a chapel, and then you could spread out.
What's the name of the saint? What saint?
Saint John Baptist.
San Juan.
Yes.
That is, are you kidding me?
Yes.
San Juan, okay. So you came, I was expecting a joke at the end of it. We came here on camels, but you actually came to Goa?
Yes.
On camels?
No. We were in Goa, in old Goa. Now, I'm not that good at history. And there will be lots of contradictions if I say anything. But during various times in the last 500 years, there were some parts that were Goa and there were some parts that were not Goa.
Okay.
But we basically came from Karamboli.
Okay.
That's all I know. My cousins who are elder to me will know much more prior to that.
So we're talking about many, many years ago when there was a plague from old Goa and a lot of people died and blah, 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 right?
Yes.
So you guys ended up here in Kalangut?
Yes.
And when you say we sat down, we got the chapel. I know I've been to Kalangut. I've been to celebrate Sanjoa many, many times. That's another show. And I mentioned about the weather and the storm outside in the monsoon. Sanjoa is only a couple of weeks away, right?
Yes, that's right.
You settled your family. By the way, there are many, many Lobos. Walter Lobo is the most famous. But I've spoken to Aaron Lobo, who's going to be on the show on one of the next following shows. He's a marine biologist. Different Lobos. how many families of Lobos do you all have here related?
We are 10 Lobo families that moved from Karambolin to Kalangut.
Okay.
One is the Souza Lobo family.
Very famous, and all the restaurant on the beach, Souza Lobos.
Yes,
Okay.
they are one of the family. And like that, there are 9 more families, including ours. And we spread out in different places, in different vardos in Kalangut.
And when you said camel, you meant Umta. That is the same Umta Vado?
It's called Vado, which later got corrupted to Vado.
I know Umta Vado. Okay. So that's where that comes from. You've been here all your life? You've been in Kalangut all your life?
Yes,
And school and all? Clear, eh?
everything.
Explain. No. School, which school did you go to?
Little Flower Girls School.
Shut up. Now, Little Flower. He started at a young
Little
age.
Flower Girls School.
Boys' school, high school, which school? Which school did you go to?
No, it just started that after I passed out my 10th standard, the hippies were in full power in Goa.
Yeah.
And I had one of the first party places where like 2,000, 2,500 people came and danced the night away.
No. So this is the history I wanted. Okay. What is the name of the place?
Coco Banana.
So Coco Banana is famous. Even I remember Coco Banana many, many years ago. Folks, if you're out there and you've been to Coco Banana, this place is legendary, and that's what got you on the map.
Yes.
What year was Coco?
78. I can't remember clearly, 78. And then when the techno music came in, I shut down.
But Walter, people remember the hippies, the beach party, not the beach parties, but the trance, the rave parties in the jungle where they'd put that translucent paint and the black lights and all. Similar?
No.
What was Coco Banana?
This was like real music.
Live music?
Sometimes live.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Steve Sequeira and Kitu.
Steven and Kitu played at your place?
Used to play at my place, yeah. But most of it was real music and not this electronic stuff.
This is what made Goa, like when we talk on this show about the hippies and what made this. Yeah, he's pulling some pictures up. Yeah, I want you to check out our.
I'm trying to find it, but it's not there, Mo. Sorry.
Listen, Walter Lobo is a legend, but Coco Banana, I remember the name, and they used to have massive parties. Music was the thing, right? People come to Goa, they want to come and relax on the beach. They want to drink cheap alcohol and enjoy the food, the Goan hospitality. But back then, there was nothing else. There was no Tito's, no nothing else at that time. No Walter.
Tito's existed in 77.
But that was the mother cooking or the father or somebody,
That
no?
was a plain restaurant. There was Bella Vista, there was Souza Lobo, there was Epicure in Kalangut, and in Baga it was Tito's. They had just opened up.
What was the other famous one in Baga? There was another one in Baga.
Bella Vista.
Bella Vista?
Bella Vista.
This is the actual history that we don't hear about, and people come here and they think Goa is all about trance and trance parties and the raves and going to the beach and getting high and all this BS. This is what made you people, you, this kind of stuff is what made this place famous and made more people want to come here. I remember in Kalangut they had the flea market where it started on the road, no?
Yes.
Roster.
Yes.
They would come and sell their wares.
End of Baga. They used to come here in campers.
Yeah.
Over Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, loaded with a lot of dope. Yeah. And of course, every young guy had that curiosity,
Yeah.
Everybody got involved in it, It was more peaceful than drinking.
Absolutely.
And less aggressive,
Yeah.
And towards the end, they just sold things, whatever they had, And the Indian tourists used to come running to Goa to buy Playboy magazines, I remember. And we often sold them by the page.
By the page, huh?
Yes.
Lucrative business, I'm sure.
I mean, supply and demand,
I actually remember those days. I was very young. My dad took me once, and it's where your Kalangut post office is now.
That was the Saturday bazaar, but most of the times they used to sit at the end of Baga. It was opposite Hotel Lomir.
Gotcha. So that was the market, yeah? They would
Yes.
come and sell their wares.
They would just be camping there and just put out their stuff by their campers.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, back in the day, the hippies would come and travel. I call them hippies. I don't mean any disrespect. They were tourists. They were travelers. Like Walter is saying, they would come here in these camp events. In Saligaon, where I lived, where I grew up, you had to drive from Porvorim to Kalangut through the village. Right? There was no Chogam Road.
Yes.
As kids, we would sit on the gate and we would be entertained, enthralled, amazed at these beautiful camper vans, bikes. And you had the clothes drying on out of them. They'd come through the village and they'd end up in Baga, Kalangut at the beach.
Yeah, that's right.
Our pristine beaches, completely unadulterated white sands. They'd go and park there.
I think the hippies were the best ever travelers ever to have come to Goa. They just wanted it to be just like it was.
Yeah.
And then slowly the others crept in. Oh, I want my swimming pool. I want this. I want that. And look at the state of where we have reached today.
Walter, I remember the kind of hippies that came here, there wasn't a whole lot. There was no internet, there was no telephones, TVs, nothing. They came here because they loved this place.
Yes.
And our Goa at that time was absolutely pristine. Yes, there was garbage, small, whatever. Nothing close to what it was today. The good thing about these people, they actually loved the place.
Yes.
And they would leave nothing behind. No garbage, no trash, no ponds, spit, no all of this. They'd come and respect the place, enjoy it. They would sell their wares.
Yes.
And then they would head back home.
Yeah.
And that I would say was the goose that laid the golden egg. The tourist industry. People would see that, they would hear about it, the legends of Goa, your parties at the beaches, at these places. People enjoyed themselves. The music scene. This is you're saying late 70s, 78?
Yes.
And they loved it. They respected this place, Walter. What happened, Ray?
Now they are abusing it. And I'm calling it, they are abusing it with government permission.
Yeah, that is a different. We'll get to that. Listen, the way we see it breaks my heart. Like I said to you, as a little child, we would sit on the gate and watch these hippies go by. They loved this place. They respected it like they respected their own homes. They weren't littering the place everywhere. I started to tell you when my dad took me to one of the markets and I bought my first Swiss Army knife, but I remember leather jackets, all these bikes, these, what are the old school bikes, not the Rajdut and all, from Delhi that they'd ride down on, and they'd sell all their wares and go back and leave nothing behind. They respected the place. But that was the beginning of the boom in Goa, right?
Yes.
That's what made people a lot of money, because our warmth and hospitality.
There was not much money then because we were hospitable. The hippies didn't have money. It was curiosity first, and humanity. And later on it started turning into business. The first 5 years I remember, I've seen the first white man walk into Kalangut in 67. And everybody said he was reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Because he had a white robe,
Long
which
hair.
had turned brown, and he had the beard and everything. And we were curious guys, so we decided to attack him.
No. Attack him?
Corner him. Hello. Why did you come to our beach here? And he looked at us and he just smiled. And I was the only guy to speak English. So I had to say it again. And of course, keeping a distance, because some of the old folks told us, if a white man touches you, you'll die. Don't ask what they said about the woman. That was more deadlier. And we believed this. So in the end, we noticed his friendly nature and we hang around with him. He gave us things to eat, like bananas. There was nothing, there was no plastic. There was just jaggery, chicky, and fruits. There were no apples also in those days in Goa.
Apples, you don't know?
Nare. I'm talking about 67, 68, 69.
How old were you then?
7.
Okay.
Wow, you remember this, the guy walking down the beach, 67.
And then we would run errands for them, like pull some firewood, because they always wanted to have a campfire. And they would bring out their guitars. The first parties, I've heard this a lot of times from many hippies. Hello, all you guys listening? The first parties, so-called parties, where down the steps on main Kalangut beach on the right-hand side. There is where the first party started with box guitars and campfires.
This is,
Then
you're
it
talking about the
all
steps? The steps
Yes.
is a tourist hostel, no?
On the right-hand side, there used to be concrete benches. They used to hang around this one bench. And there were about like 50 hippies who regularly came, sat there in the evenings. They sang, they drank the local feni. There was no foreign stuff, you know. And of course, we were like hanging around the shadows, watching them curiously. And very few of them spoke English. So it was mostly sign language.
No way. Wow.
And then some of them got broke. And they, while we watched them shriveling away, we used to rob food from home, put it out on the newspaper and command the guy, eat, don't drop dead here. You know?
No kidding. They would run out of money. They couldn't afford it.
Yes, they didn't have money. And then all of a sudden, you would look, we never asked them their names. We gave them names. I remember this Bob Dylan song, I think it is. Man gave names to all the animals. I don't know who it is also. So somebody was frog, somebody was a little bit big, he was a rhinoceros.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That these are the people, the original
Somebody
people?
had a long nose, he was a duck, whatever, you know. Somebody was the fox, you know. We had a ball of a time, you know.
Walter, these people were good people.
They
These
were
people,
nice people.
came to go and they respected your place. They treated it like it was their own home, right?
Yeah, and I always remember them. They always said, don't change, be as you are. And we thought, how stupid these guys are, you know? While the world is moving on, we used to read like newspapers and things like that. Why can't we be like that? And then many years later, I just realized how beautiful Goa is. I got an invite to go to Germany, one of my friends. And I said to myself, why the bloody hell do I have to go to Germany? I'm happy. From Shikeri Hill to Baga Hill, that's my world, and I'm contented. And I had a Canadian friend who said to me, Walter, you have to go. I said, why? I'm happy here. He said, only then you will know what you have here. And
That's
by
so
God,
true.
that was true.
And people don't realize how much we need to appreciate. It's sad. And we are passionate about it. We talk about it all the time. But we are blessed to have this place. You mentioned stealing, or not stealing, or bringing firewood to these guys to make some money. These guys needed to eat. These guys needed to drink. That was the first. There were no shacks and all, no? Walter, how did
There
they
was
get...
no shacks, there were no restaurant. I think Soza Lobo was the only guy. There was another place next to Soza Lobo where all the hippies hang out with their chillums.
Yeah.
It was called Trippin' Place.
That place is a different place.
Yeah. I mean, there was no psychedelic drugs then. It was mostly charas, ganja, and, you know.
But these people were peaceful,
Opium.
right? It was safe, no, Walter?
It was more safe than it will ever be, you know.
And they used to sleep on the beach and all?
Yes.
Everything, sleep, you cook. He's pulling up some pictures, but I don't think that's the same time and place. If you remember, what was it? Tourist hostel. You used to come down, they'd walk down the step. They had the two little tunnels going on either side.
Yes.
It would smell like piss. I remember playing as a kid. But these guys enjoyed themselves. They respected the place before all the shacks and the restaurants and the overdevelopment that has happened since then.
Yes.
And they told you many, many years ago, don't change. Keep the place as it is, as long as you can.
But then the greed crept in. You
But
know?
everybody wants to make money, no, Walter?
When it started, I remember exactly. Hello, hello. I give you 10 rupees, I sleep in your balcony. You know?
Wow.
And that 10 rupees paper money was a huge amount of money.
Da rupiya mare, Baba.
Hey, da rupiya,
Are?
that was like today's probably 10,000.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Da rupiya
Yes.
to sleep in the balcony.
Yes, there was no money. People bartered.
Yeah.
You know, you gave fish, she gave rice. There was mostly barter system. Only very few people had money.
So no
Actual
hotels and-
money.
yeah.
You know, there were no hotels. There was nothing. You know, there
So-
was no phones. There was no digital. There was no internet. Absolutely nothing.
So you bartered and traded whatever you had?
Most of the village folks did that.
And these guys would pay money for coconut, for whatever, the
Yes.
bananas, food,
50 rupee, 50 paisa, 1 rupee. They used to catch the bus to Mapsa. They used to buy their stuff there. You know, they used to eat in local places which had thali or bhaji. You know,
Merv, we have a picture of old Walter Lobo for you.
Is that Sozalova?
Yes.
Hey, what the
Yes.
point, Matzo?
Yes, that is the third. That is the.
Galle, full screen galle.
Oi. That is the first.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
What does it tell you a year?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I'll just check once.
Okay, so that's the old Sozalova. I remember
Yes.
going to the beach.
I was going to say that was my first ever meal in Goa was at Soza Lobo, chicken chakuti.
Yeah,
I
they're
wanted
famous.
to try it because it had coconut and all in it. So it was my first meal. It was amazing. Such a great memory.
It doesn't give you a year, huh?
It doesn't give a date.
But Walter, that's what made this space special. The whole idea we do this show is because we're so passionate. We love Goa, and you have seen those days. You appreciate those days. I appreciate those days. There's many people out there listening that would probably remember Goa back at the simple times, safe, clean, before all this craziness started to creep into greed.
That's what pisses me off now, looking at what it has become and looking in which direction our government also wants to take it. You know?
It's a difficult topic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about some contentious issues, but these are our opinions. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. It doesn't mean it's right, wrong, or whatever, but this is exactly what the show's all about. And I asked Walter, I was so happy when he said yes, because he has his opinion. He's actually done so many good things over the period of time he's been around. He can talk about the history, what a lot of people wouldn't even know about, but he's actually walked the walk and talked the talk. And when we talk about these contentious issues, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come, it's just making people aware of how beautiful this place that we don't really appreciate. There's another great picture, Ajoy. Put it up on the screen. Oh, that's Willie. This is what we don't realize until you travel. Walter, I met my wife here 16 years ago in a shack in Kalangut, in Kandalim. But we've got so many brilliant stories, like you were just talking about, these lovely people that came here with no ill will, enjoyed the place, they left, they developed the place more and more to encourage and make more money, but the greed kept in. And you keep talking about the government and all these other things that are happening. They do happen, but why do we let these things happen? We're the people that vote the people into power, right? How do we control what's going on? You're never going to get back to where it was, will you?
No, definitely not. The greed has crept in so deeply into a good 95% of the people.
Okay.
So you cannot control greed.
Yeah, but there's got to be a way. Listen, you're killing, but in my opinion, you've killed the goose that laid the golden egg. Our Goa will never be back to where it was.
Yeah,
anywhere.
Forget about the goose. Now they want the gander's balls also. You know?
Hey, ganders have balls in it.
You know, I mean, that's what I said in one of my videos. I said, look, their corruption exists. Okay, this is the golden goose of corruption. Wait for one egg every day.
Come on.
You know, the corruption, the goose called corruption, wait for that one egg every day, and that's enough for y'all. Now these guys have ripped the goose apart, and they are even selling the intestines now. You know, they want to finish and destroy Goa. They've made it a whorehouse for the North Indians. They brought in casinos. We have African students walking the streets till early in the morning, shouting out their prices. The place has gone to the dogs. The garbage is not being picked up. There are people from North India roaming around. You know, you must have heard about the rapes and things like that.
Walter, this is going to happen in any place that develops. It's got the downside. It's got the negative. But we're the people that are voting these same people, these politicians into power. We can't blame anybody else. I want to get to, you'd mentioned something you're very passionate about property and usurping of property and illegally taking over property. We put these people in power. And that's what this is why I wanted you here, because unlike any other topic where you want to get many people involved and people made aware, you'd have to take an ad in a newspaper or you'd have to get an ad on a radio show to get to contact and make people aware of this. This show gives you that opportunity. You've got goans that live everywhere, all around the world.
And quite a few of them are calling me up with regard to this property things. Their properties are being robbed. Now.
How? What do you mean being robbed? They're not here.
Systematically, they are in US or they are in England or in Australia, and every time they came down, everything was okay. All of a sudden now, it has burst out open. Their properties are being robbed. Their papers are being changed. People who were dead and buried long time back, they are turning up alive.
Yeah, that
and nobody is being arrested besides the kingpin.
Yeah,
and
but
you cannot do this without a bunch of Goan officials.
Baba.
You have a lot of officials, the Mamledar, the Talati, the lot of Goan officials are involved in this racket.
Okay, but again, I get back to the same point. Yes, it's happening. I see it all the time. In all the places, and I do a lot of driving in the work I do a lot of driving. And you see always at the junctions of two villages, like mushrooms, you have things just popping up. First, it's a little you put a little bit lakud, and then next thing you know, it's a hotel and it's a restaurant, right?
Yes.
All these illegalities are happening, but who can you blame? We are the ones that vote these people in. You mentioned greed with the tourists. They came here with good hearts. We were greedy enough. We wanted to make more and more money off these people, and we opened shacks and restaurants and bars and buildings and hotels. The politicians have been put into power by people that want to further their own their own interests and make more money, right? But you can't blame anybody else. We don't live. If you don't live here, you sell your property and you move to England or UK, wherever you move. Yeah. How can you blame what is happening here? Because you are not part of this society, the voting society that puts these politicians in power, that are able to do these corrupt or illegal things.
It is like this. You have ancestral property here.
Yeah.
You're holding a British or US passport. You are aware of these things happening every day. At least you're reading the newspaper, hearing Goa news somewhere or the other. So my suggestion to all these people holding ancestral property in Goa is either hand it over to some relation, or just sell it. Because you are encouraging people to rob these properties. And the more they rob, the more officials they fix, it's gone beyond control.
It is a very common, there's a couple of things that happen on a regular basis where people have property that they don't realize how valuable it is. And it's only when you lose it do you start to pay attention. But it's a shame because, like you said, either sell it, give it away, donate it, do what you want. You're working your butts off in all these foreign countries, in England, in Italy, in Australia, in the US, and Canada, and you've got a gold mine, you've got a gem of something that is so valuable here in Goa. And now with the property rates in Goa, you could come back and sell the property, and people don't realize they contact you to take care of their property.
Yes, I've been getting power of attorneys from here and there, and I said, stop now. No, hello, I'm not going to run for your mother's ancestral property. If you have any feelings for that property and you were born in that house, then one of you could check up your job and come down and do something. So there are lots of opportunities.
Very true.
I think you have come down now from US. Yeah. There are lots of opportunities, but don't sit there in London and US and Walter Lobo will run for your properties. Thank God I'm not one of those guys. Yeah, I could start a scam and probably half of Goa would end up with me.
Masha, commission gere.
Nah, but it's not the commission. You love your ancestral property. You come down. Okay, I can understand certain cases. I'm holding 3-4 power of attorneys. I've threatened one guy. I said, hey, you're not coming down in the next 2 years. I'm selling your house. I have the permission to. He's saying, Walter, sell it.
Are you serious?
And he's going to Dubai for a holiday. because he says it is just become crazy. Goa is not holiday anymore. I get 2 weeks after working my ass off in Switzerland, and in Dubai, of all the places, he says the holiday starts after my plane lands. And he says here, the taxi drivers are fighting over you. You arrive to the beach, you don't meet any Goans in the tourism industry anymore. Even the shack waiter is from God knows where, Orissa, Karnataka. No Goans are involved in the trade anymore. They are sitting behind and counting the money.
These guys are complaining because any vacation time you have, you got to go back and protect what you have, and then you got to go back to work. Walter, why do people do that? And thank God you're honest, because all these people are giving you power of attorney. If you were a crook, you'd be a billionaire. You'd be driving a Lamborghini or a bloody Bentley in Kalangut. But you're an honest person. Why do these people continue to live abroad and work so hard when you've got something here that you could actually...
See, there are a lot of issues involved here. Sometimes you have 1 or 2 kids. They are well settled in their jobs there.
Okay.
Yeah? Now, you have these family ties. The kids grew up, let's say, in Dubai. From Dubai, they moved to Canada, you know? And they don't have this connection to Goa.
Don't speak any Konkani.
They don't speak even Konkani at home, you know? But the funny thing now, I look in UK, you have this feast and that feast. Every feast they're celebrating. But how many of them are trying to teach their children Konkani or get them to know their roots?
So true, so true.
You know?
Ancestry, hereditary.
If you don't know your roots, you're blown away with the wind.
You know, that's an interesting point. I was just watching the Goa Fest in UK. I don't know where they have it. And I was saying, oh my gosh, that is more Goan than actually what we see here in Goa. the people over there is the Goans I was used to seeing as a kid. And you don't get to see that here in Goa, which is actually so true and shocking, actually.
Walter, I'm going to rob that analogy from you. I'm going to use it one day. I love that. If you don't have any roots or you haven't planted your roots, you will blow away with the wind. That is so true, no? These guys have property, they've got business, they've got all these kind of stuff, and they've got so much that can be maximized here and go. You don't have to work. Yes. And they decide they live in all these England, London, Holland, all these different places. But then what happens? All the property gets taken away. It gets used and abused, and you're encouraging people to do illegal stuff and take it away, no?
Yeah, but this is, again, it comes back to corrupt politicians who are supporting these people, you know, and then the money gets spread to the bureaucrats also, the cops, everybody gets a cut of your ancestral hill somewhere, you know.
So everybody wants a piece.
You fly down and you think it's going to work like England, and you'll go to this court and that court, and the policeman, Bobby, will come and catch that fellow. It's not working like that. You might end up with your bones broken or shot dead somewhere.
And it's happening, no?
It's happening terribly. A new scheme, a new scam, and this is for Goans in Goa who have made a lot of money in tourism. A new thing that is going around. You Goans, please inform your folks back home. It's called property jihad.
What?
No, it's got nothing to do with any Muslims. It is these many North Indians are working here. They are singling out young girls whose fathers have made money. Icon gay. I'll give you one example. Daddy working in the Gulf sends mommy money. 2 daughters. Mommy puts 20 lakh fixed deposit in a bank. One of the daughters falls for some guy. Daddy comes back, he gets angry, which is the biggest mistake you can do, and the daughter leaves and gets married to that guy and goes away. 7 years down the line, mommy drops dead. Daddy goes with mommy's death certificate to the bank and says, hello, this is my wife, this is marriage certificate, this is death certificate. What do you think has happened? The daughter's husband has come with Portuguese law to the bank. Hello? When mommy dies, half is belongs to the children, half to daddy. Actually, the money was daddy's.
Oh no.
And what the bank did is, they looked at each other and said, please settle this dispute among yourselves. They didn't even renew this receipt. I really don't know what happened to the money, but I advised the father. I said, look, just take out that money, give that one daughter of yours 5 lakhs, and make sure you secure the remaining.
This
Now,
is happening, huh?
This is going on. I've got 2-3 cases coming to me. All of a sudden, the girl is saying, I am in love with him. Another case, a grand old lady, Walter, come, my granddaughter's wedding, and look at the cake and look at the dress. So I said, hey, who is this guy she's getting married to? Huh? Did you make him drop his pants and inspect him properly? You know? No, he's a manager in a hotel. Ago mule. Tomorrow he might turn out to be the dishwasher. Did you visit the family? That's your granddaughter who's getting married, and they had a lot of ancestral property. Okay, the wedding took place, and I was screaming and yelling, investigate, go there, check the family.
Wow.
They got married, he went home, Okay, he was from somewhere out of Goa, I won't say where. And he slept on the big bed with his mother, and he put a mat and some bedding for his new
Shut
wife.
up. Are you serious?
But in Goa, he was the manager, and yes, sir, and yes, sir. Now, the lucky part of the story is, he probably knew that I might break his bones. He didn't claim for any money or things from his wife.
Listen, you've mentioned North Indians. A lot of people come from all over the place. You can be a scamster from anywhere.
Yes.
But it is very, very common. These scams, I can't believe, I would have never even thought about that, Walter.
Yes.
Properties are being usurped. Properties are magically being transferred. Signatures magically appearing on documents.
Yes.
And people owning property that they don't have any kind of hereditary, ancestral, nothing rights.
And the name change.
Yeah, but again, we come back to the same. Okay, so I'm going to ask a stupid question. We've asked this question a million times. How do you fix it, and where do you start? So people out there, I'm so glad you're talking about this, but anybody we've talked about it. They've had college students and high school students come up with answers on how to fix this problem. Where do you start?
Well, the first thing you'll have to find honest people.
Oh my God, Walter, come on, dude.
That's very rare
Where
to find.
Where are you going to find?
Yes. I know a guy called Donald Fernandez. He has a place called Street Providence. And I think some time back he came up with something whereby you could entrust your property to him as a power of attorney holder, and you would have to pay all expenses involved.
To do what?
Like look after things,
Manage,
pluck the thing, keep an eye on the place.
But Donald is honest. There are a whole lot more Donalds that are corrupt than there are Donalds that are honest. Giving you power of attorney if you were a crook.
Yeah, but then either you have to, you can't change the system.
But you don't plan on living here. No, if you want to have and keep and secure what you have here,
There
you've got to work
is
at
no way you're going to sit there and secure your property here unattended. Then you have to call in your family, your friends, or you'd have to know some biggest dada of Goa to keep an eye on your property.
England, Scotland.
A friend of mine recently, a group of goons came, they lifted him from his house and they kept him out. They robbed all his stuff.
Police
Police dacoity. Now there are 2 cops every day sitting at his house. He got his house back. Luckily, he got the house back. And the guy who is robbing the house has a history of this thing.
But it's not a one-off. This is not something that happens one time. This is happening on a regular basis, and it's gotten worse. I am in the internet business. We do internet connections, companies called Infinite. We have been screwed over so many times, and it's never, and I hate to say this, and I'm not generalizing, it has never been by Goans.
Yeah.
All 3 times, 4 times, it's been by people from the north who have owed us money, who have disappeared, and they've got the connections blatantly obvious that they are wrong. They owe the money. They pay the cops. They do whatever, and get away with bloody murder. And I'm not generalizing. I'm not. My sister, my brother-in-law is North Indian. It's not about that. The fact of the matter is, as Goans, we don't see that what we're doing or how we're doing what we're doing is just so bad, and it's not making the situation any better.
It's also the bureaucrats have got really corrupt. Everybody wants a bungalow and a farmhouse and a couple of cows. You know what kind of cows I'm talking about.
Not the ones that go moo.
Yeah, they do moo sometimes.
They want villas
Or
in
make
Goa.
other strange noises, any animal noises.
They want a villa in Goa with a swimming pool. Baba, hami thinga rauta.
Oi.
They must say, Janna, when I want to go on holiday, I go to Goa. Party po Korea mare, hami bichar wasun. We go to this place, that place, get high, do this, that, and the other, and come back to all these places that we live.
Yeah, and then they're calling it a Ramraj. But we in Goa have to bear the brunt of all these bloody Ravans.
Yeah, dude, but that is gonna. You know what?
They drink, they drive crazily, they kill people, they just brazenly walk into the police station. No case is filed. Oh, he's so and so's son. He's this. They build right close to the beach. We know all possible laws, CRZ, everything is flouted.
How does that happen? I mean, you can't go back later. You see,
Yeah, because of politicians. Hello, you will not be the chief minister next month.
Jeez.
Or hello, your ministry will go. So these guys, for their chair, they are willing to sell out their mothers also. They sold the river. They gave it away to Karnataka. In 20 years, we are going to have water wars, I tell you. There will be fights for not for property, but for water.
Already in Panjim,
Yes.
and I can say this from experience, there are times when we don't get water for 10 to 15 days at the stretch. And I'm talking about, I stay close to where the governor stays. So it is that bad in Panjim. Can you imagine what it'll be like in the rest of the state?
These guys, I know for a fact, in Anjuna, in Kalangut, and all are struggling with fresh water. There are water issues in the summer season before the rains come. No.
Yes, always.
And how can you? Okay, there. I'm going to ask you another silly question. How do you allow these guys to build these big hotels so close to the beach? There's no parking. There's no sewage. There's no proper electricity, water supply. Blah
There's
blah blah.
absolutely
Koro
no
dita mara.
study on the carrying capacity of a small village.
And why don't the villagers
Suddenly they come.
ask for it?
Huh?
Why don't the villagers ask for it? Why don't the
Everything
Kalangut
is
villagers?
shoved up your ass from Delhi, including the minister and the chief minister's ass. He gets his ass rammed in Delhi, and then he comes here and tries it with us.
But it continues
And
to
the
happen.
cops
Walter.
are also roped in, you know.
But
People's
Walter,
houses have been broken, you know.
it continues to happen. No.
It continues to happen.
When does it end? When does it stop? When do people listen? I'm saying to you, I'm going.
When does it end? When some madman picks up a gun or picks up a sword and chops off somebody's
How many
neck.
people are going to chop now? How many people are going to shoot?
It will happen.
Baba.
People are frustrated, especially the tribals inside Goa. Everybody is sick.
I agree with
Sick
Walter.
to the core of all what is happening in Goa. And the sad part of the story is these bloody politicians don't seem to be aware. One small spark and there will be a carnage.
One thing I've noticed, Merv, before you, sorry to cut
No,
you
go
off.
on.
One thing that I've noticed is the Goans of before are not the same Goans of today, in the sense the Goans before used to be more calm, peaceful,
Yes.
loving.
Totally.
Today the Goans are full of anger. Any small thing,
Because
they
you're being
fly
walked
into a
over
rage.
every day. You're being walked over and you're forced to eat shit every day. Some Gandhi comes from somewhere and does whatever he wants.
Listen.
Is it a case of people seeing these things in their own states and they're coming and
No,
replicating?
never.
stuff?
They
No,
don't do this in their states.
Asta
The
Maria.
problem in Goa is, I'd spoken to the first to the first BJP Chief Minister, Manohar Parrikar, and I told him curtail the alcohol. Because these people who are coming from India, they are not used to drinking alcohol. They are not social drinkers. They drink alcohol to get drunk.
Royally.
And the next thing is, they see these foreigners in bikini. It's a culture clash. So they think, oh, these foreigners are in bikini because they have nobody and they must be waiting for us. And there, the culture clash together with the alcohol, and now it's got so bad, yeah. Every day they are falling across the streets. They are going to Goan woman and asking them, how much do you charge? Kitna leti hai? You know?
Listen, you will create a war, you will create a riot if you ever mention those words, curtail alcohol in Goa. I'm just going kara.
No. See, the thing is, I mean, curtail, we have been drinking for ages. We
Absolutely,
know how
no.
we drink.
But you got to limit that, no?
Now when you have these animals and cannibals, sorry, they are also cannibals, you know. First thing is you have an alcohol license.
Yes.
At a certain stipulated time, your wholesale is closed, baby. Huh? Now, if you are going to pay a bribe and keep it open right through the night till 2, 3, and brazenly tell me I am paying hafta, the tourist is not going to sit in a restaurant and pay 100 rupees a peg when he gets a bottle for 500.
Absolutely.
So he buys the bottle for 500, and the assholes in the government, till date, they are not arresting any tourist who's drinking in public. Goa is the only state in the whole of India where they are claiming to be Ram Raj, where people are walking around drinking openly.
That's
in
the thing.
front of cops also.
You're not allowed to drink. You're not supposed to be. You're not allowed to drink or smoke tobacco, cigarettes. Right? They're illegal. Right?
I mean,
why is how? So we always come back to the same question.
yeah,
right?
the alcohol companies are owned by ministers, the distributors.
It's not only alcohol. I don't think it's only alcohol.
No, see, it starts. Baba, boy. When you're drunk, if I approach you and say, hello, you like a ladki, you like a girl, you're more likely to say yes. If you're sober, not. You know, it always starts with alcohol, and all the other things follow alcohol.
What happens? Why doesn't this happen in Thailand? People go there and drink. There's women everywhere, even more so, right?
I'll answer
so
that.
it's not. Let me finish. Let me finish. Yeah. So alcohol is cheap here. Alcohol is cheap there. There's women everywhere in Thailand. Why don't they have the problems? Because they're strict about how you behave.
Exactly. There's
Right?
regulation.
And you've got rules and laws and regulations. Why are they not being implemented here? Why aren't people doing more to implement these? And if you see corrupt politicians or people that are doing something wrong, why do you vote them back in? It's your greed, the local people that have the voters' licenses, the voter, whatever it is, that requires you to vote. You're taking money from these guys who are giving you a free bike and 10,000 rupees or a TV or whatever, and you're voting them back in. You can't complain later.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
our Goans are doing exactly what they get what you deserve. It's sad.
We're coming back to the same old word, greed.
Wait, but how,
And then they end up at my place, you know. This happened, that happened. I said, who the hell did you vote for? So-and-so minister. I said, did you speak to him? No, he's not available. And until I make a video and there's big noise about it, then something might happen. But we are only about a gang of, let's say, 50 people in Goa who are shouting and screaming. Some of us have got fake cases. Yeah?
There's another joke. You're talking about cases. The judicial system in India.
Yeah.
You can go to the court. The judges are doing their work. The advocates for both sides are making money. No.
Yes.
Your case is being heard for the next 20 years.
Yes.
What isn't that's called conflict of interest? No. Why? What reason do both the advocates have to finish the case off if they're getting paid for every visit? So you put it in court. There you spend another couple of lakhs, crores to fight a case. You've got the money, you can continue it on. If you don't have the money, you're cheap, you get screwed, right?
Yeah.
So but the point I'm asking you is we see this happen all the time and it's not going to change. Goa's changing in a way that you
say this, but in India and even in Goa, the judiciary also seems to be crumbling. Now this will be a very controversial statement. Okay, the judiciary also seems to be crumbling.
You're talking about the courts, judges.
Yes.
Yeah?
The judges and the staff and the registrars, and I know many things.
Yeah, but Walter,
If it comes up in court, it's all swept under the carpet. Some people have tried to bring it out, but then this is, it's too big. Too many heads will roll. So the best thing is
Keep it
sweep
buried.
under the carpet.
Keep it buried. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Merv Britto Show. This is an interactive show, and we'd love you to call in. You got questions. You can contact us, 750-724-6246. We're in heaven right now. I'm speaking to one of my favorite people, somebody who's very knowledgeable about something that I'm very passionate about. We've been talking to the one and only Mr. Walter Lobo, and like I said, if you want to get in touch with us, you can WhatsApp us, you can send us a message, and we will send you a link. You can click the link. You can contact us. You can ask us questions. You can make contents. You can make comments. You can have your opinions be heard. This is something that we could talk about for the next 5 shows, and unfortunately, we don't have that amount of time. We're going to keep this conversation going with the one and only Mr. Walter Lobo, but we'd love to hear from you. If you want to get in touch with us, you can call us. 750-724-6246. You can send us a message on WhatsApp. You can video us on WhatsApp, Ajay, or we're not doing it.
Send us a message on WhatsApp, and then we will get you on a call with us, either audio call or a video call if it's possible. Yes.
Walter, I'm going to ask you another very, very difficult question. You'd be the guy to answer it, yes? I've already asked you a very difficult question. How do you fix the problem? And you said take a blade and chop everybody. It doesn't work. It's not going to happen. How do these countries in the West, you've got the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, all these countries, how do they limit? And I'm talking about, obviously, we're a union territory. In India, how do they keep these beautiful places from getting polluted? Why do we not implement that in Goa?
See, the basic thing is education first. Number one. They always try to keep the lot in India uneducated, or they rob the money designated for education. So the more uneducated people you have, you can feed them any bullshit and get them to vote for you. And you can con them very easy. That's one thing. Now in Europe, you have chances to get yourself very educated even if you don't have money. The state gives you money. Now when you're educated, you learn a lot of things.
Yeah, you know a lot more.
Yeah. Now, surely there is corruption in the US, everywhere in the world there is corruption. But it stops at a certain level. It just doesn't come creeping down to every bureaucrat and peon and everybody.
Sure.
Now, I'll give you an example. He gets declared as the, transport minister. He calls up all the centers and he says, hello, 10 lakhs Mapsa, 15 lakhs Panjim, you 7 lakhs. I agree. That particular office in Mapsa or Panjim or Margao has to collect together legally or illegally and deliver to this minister. So now when that happens, a meeting takes place. She's the head of the department. She says, look, he's asked for 5 lakhs. What do we do?
How are you collecting the money? Collecting the money to give to somebody, but how do you collect that money?
Scams and more scams. So each level in the office, you're being scammed by her because she has to make her target.
Sit back, go on.
She has to make her target.
Correct.
Followed by this higher up guy. He has to make his monthly target, followed by the boss.
And this is where these police are pulling people over and collecting.
Do you know how much it is to get transferred only as a police officer in Kalangut?
You got to pay for that.
You will be shocked only for transfer.
So if you want to become a police officer, you have to pay?
Of course.
Okay, why? How do you to join the police force?
Yes. They banned every rule depending on how much money you have.
So you have to pay a certain amount to join the police to serve.
Fake certificates also have been presented. They have been caught. Nothing seems to happen because the minister took the money long time back, and now he's probably somebody high up. Then also the transfer of police officers. So it's like an auction. Hey, I'll pay 1 crore. Okay, bang, I get transferred to Kalangut. Okay, who's the drugs guy? Okay, you want to run prostitution? You bring 20 lakhs.
Wow.
You want to sell what? Cocaine? Meth? Acid? Okay, you bring this much. What are the other rackets in town? Hey, everybody bring the money here. So I'll tell you a funny incident. What happened? A high-ranking officer from Delhi, who was in the end shunted out of Goa, he didn't get his stake because he was brand new. And he didn't know the system. So he called up the guy previously and he asked him, how much? Are there no rackets in Goa? So that guy told him figures. This guy lost his head. He had no way of doing anything. So he came to Kalangut and he said, I'm going to stop all these dance bars and the drugs and blah, blah, blah. In other words, look at me and all you buggers who are doing all this shit, come to me and give the money to me. We made a big rally in Kalangut, stop the dance bars, blah, blah, blah. In 2 weeks, everything was back to usual. In the end, this guy was shunted out. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because some house was broken in Aldana or Kolvale.
This is the guy that was making the noise.
Yes. And then he was quiet. Now, if you go and check each and every officer who's transferred from to Goa,
Yeah.
each has a bungalow. Somebody has bought land and changed it illegally at the last minute. They are setting up factories in Goa because this money that is rolling into their hands, they can't do anything. They are investing it back again in daughter's name, in son-in-law's name. They are breaking all the rules. So this is what has happened, and they keep telling us the Portuguese were bad.
They blame the Portuguese.
At least the Portuguese had one thing. This is like this, and you can't overrule this.
Listen, this is a sad state of affairs, and I want to get away. I want to get away from all the negativity. We could talk about this because it breaks my heart, and Walter is equally passionate, if not more passionate, about Goa than I am. I could talk about this till the cows come home. Walter, it's like a cancer. How do you get rid of it?
There is a solution.
तुमचे solutions are ना. You don't want to go and
There's
shoot
gotta be a
everybody.
No.
There's gotta
I'm
be
not
a
talking
silver
about.
cloud.
I'm not talking about shooting everybody or
Then,
killing everybody.
What is the solution?
There are a lot of businessmen who have involved themselves with tourism, and since a major portion of money of Goa is coming from tourism,
Correct.
they have to get it. Who? The hotel owners have to get it.
The businesses.
Yeah, the businesses have to get it that this cannot carry on and on. Unfortunately, most of the businesses, they are not bothered about it. And they are clapping hands when there's a tsunami in, Thailand, and when there's a bomb blast in Egypt, hoping that they'll get these people.
You're not going to get these people.
No. Yeah. So we have to have a plan. We have to see the number of tourists in. We have to see what kind of tourists is coming in. And we can make recommendations to that damn minister. But is he going to listen? We started the show talking about the goose that laid the golden eggs. That's what made Goa what it is. That's what generates the huge amount of the revenue, right? Yeah, we have something called TTAG.
But you cannot have the tourists coming to Goa getting ripped off by this, getting ripped off by that, overcharging taxis, hotels. Anything could happen anywhere in the world, and they're not going to come to Goa because you've made the visas impossible to get. They're very hard. My mother-in-law, people all around the world that want to travel have to jump through hoops to get visas. You pay an arm and a leg.
Yes.
Tourists keep saying, why should I go to Goa? I'll go to Thailand, I'll go to Malaysia.
Even Goans are going for holiday to Thailand and
Maggie,
Sri Lanka.
Why should I come there?
Because
No.
they don't want to go even for a holiday in Goa. Now the problem is these few hotel owners and this group called TTAG, they also should learn to take everybody along, not a bunch of few restaurants and not a bunch of few hotels. Everybody connected in the tourist industry on board. Okay, Mr. Shackman, what's your problem? What can the government do?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Put this all
Right here.
on thing and here, minister. Hello, you can have your rackets, but this is our stomach and your stomach ultimately.
Yeah, of course.
So you have to implement this very strictly. Now you gave me a bar license for so much of money I'm paying. Huh? None of the tourists are sitting in bar
And then
in the restaurants
And
anymore.
the tourist industry has gotten shorter. No, they make it so hard to run a restaurant or a shack.
You have to get 100 permissions for a restaurant. He comes, he puts up a guard out there. The tourist has bought a bottle from this person's illegal
Wine shop.
timing
Wine
shop.
Mm.
He's drinking there and he's eating illegally from this guy. And this guy is paying hafta. It's like a kickback to people.
Ladies and gentlemen, this
You
is a contentious topic. This is a very difficult topic, and it's not going to get solved in one show. Walter, I agree with you 100%. And although we're passionate about it, these are the views and opinions that are our views and opinions. We're not trying to change anybody or blame anybody or point any fingers, but we're passionate about this, and we can talk till the cows come home. I agree with you 100%, and we want to make this place as great as it once was. You need the right people, Walter. You need the right tourist minister, you need the right promotions, you need to change the rules. Like you said, ask the shack owners, the hoteliers, the what makes this place a place where people want to go. Get opinions, try and figure it out, but get the right tourists back
Yeah,
to Goa.
there's a saying in Konkani,
Song.
and many old people who are there all over the world will know this. Haryang Gorwanu ani Botang Tarwanu. That means a fisherman should not buy cows and a birdjee should not buy boats. You know?
Say that again. What? Haryaning? What?
Haryang Gorwanu.
Why?
Gorwa means
Gorwa is
cattle.
fisherman.
Ani Botang, birdjees, Tarwanu. Tarwa means ships. So now this is the case. There was a minister who did not see Anjuna beach until he was the tourism minister.
Jesus.
They don't know a shit about tourism. They are financing their family trips to weird places where the tourist is not even going to take a dump on us. They are spending our taxpayers' money and telling us, oh, we went to Norway
To promote.
to promote Goa. You bunch of assholes, clean up the shit at home.
I'm going to start blowing this horn.
Yeah?
I'm going to have to clean up the
Clean
show,
up
mate.
the shit at home before you step out and ask any foreigner to come here. If I was that foreigner, I would start slapping y'all all the way from the
How
airport till the
can you-
hotel.
How can
it's
you
a con job. It's a con job because
Yes.
you are sold something abroad, saying that this land is a particular way, and when they land here, it's totally different.
But there's so many people that have been coming for years and years.
Yeah, love
And
this
they've-
place.
and
These
they
are the
love it.
die-hard people who are dropping out.
Yeah.
And these are the people who were 3 months, 6 months they were staying here. They made a
Absolutely.
problem for the visas.
Yeah.
Now they are relaxing in Vietnam.
Thailand, Malaysia,
Thailand.
Southeast Asia.
And some of them, the affluent ones, are going for holiday even to Dubai.
Yeah.
They don't want to come to Goa to face this shit anymore.
You can't blame them.
They can't come for anything.
Yeah,
more than the
I wouldn't
180
come to Goa myself. I'll tell you, I took a trip once to, where is that? Koh Samui. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked at that. After 3 days, I was like hiding. And I thought,
क्या कर रहे हैं?
if one tourist who has been to Goa sees me and he knows I'm from Goa, he's going to slap the shit out of me and say, give me all the money I spent in Goa.
Why did I ever bother?
It is so nice. You're not harassed. you're not eaten up alive.
Baba, they actually take care of their
Yes.
their visitors, their
They
travelers,
take
no?
care of that's a best investment. The garbage scenario.
Yeah.
A foot, nearly 6 inches thick of garbage at 10 o'clock. There was a concert. Early in the morning at 5 o'clock, you don't find a cigarette butt.
Spick and span.
I got up in the morning and they were cleaning like wartime.
Baba, those people know what the tourist industry is. They know how important the tourist industry is from the time you apply for your visa,
Yes.
the time you arrive at the airport, your taxi ride, your hotel stays, your restaurants, everything is well organized and taken care of. But sadly, us Goan people that live here don't get the opportunity to provide our services and turn back a little bit of time.
This depends on the government also.
It does, Walter, but the government, you said, one of the smartest things I heard. Why don't you get even the shack guys, even the restaurateurs, the taxi guys, why don't you get their opinions, form a little bit of a covenant, an association, to bring back slowly some of the tourists that you've lost, the people that were diehard fans of Goa, that have stopped coming, Walter?
No,
because they're getting screwed every which way.
To do this, the taxi drivers are shouting, the hotel owners, the TTAG is making thousands of suggestions, but the stupid minister is just reeling off numbers and he's saying so many people came to Goa.
Yeah.
How many came to Goa, drank, fell down the street, killed somebody with rent a car? That statistics is not provided. They are become like Hitlers. They are just reeling off figures. And if you don't listen to these figures, then you become the target.
And you can see, they told you the tourist industry is greater than it ever was. This year was busy and last year was busy and this. Baba, we can see day to day who's in Goa, who's at the shacks, who's at the restaurants. It's dead.
But they're having to rise back up after COVID also, but because of all of the
No,
changes.
it's not only COVID. Other countries have had tsunamis and they woke up like this. They realized, what did Thailand do? From 100%, they made it 25%. In 2 years, they pulled back the whole tsunami crowd who was staying away because of the tsunami. They know facts and figures. They are studying their statistics and they are saying, okay, Baba, we cannot charge this much. Let's go low and let's be full and treat the guests nice. Now, what happens, that one experience in Thailand, many Indians will also tell you this. One experience in Thailand, my wife went to Sri Lanka a few years back. She came back and she looked at me. We had a small guest house. Y'all are bloody robbers. She's accusing me. I said, what? What the hell? Huh? Y'all are robbing people.
Why?
I have a small guest house.
Yeah.
Then she told me what she got for $50 in Sri Lanka and how nice it was, and there was nobody jumping and tearing you to bits. One foreigner came and he had strikes, on a piece of paper. So he showed me, you know what this is? I said, surely that's not the amount of beers you've drunk, He said, this is the time I got disturbed on the beach.
No kidding. So that's all part of the experience, no?
No, 57 times is no bloody experience. It's harassment. And it's a rape.
It is a sad state of affairs.
57 times in 3-4 hours.
Would you want to buy a sarong? Can I sell you a laser light? Listen, that happens.
And you'd like to try an Indian lady also of late?
Might go.
Yeah.
I tell you what, but that's what it's gotten to. Now I don't even bother going to Kalangut and Baga. There are pawn stains.
Yes.
Every other shop is a tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
Every other shop is a bull shop, wine shop.
Yeah.
Everybody's selling cashews. And it's not the Kalangut you spoke about back. Anyway.
But Merv, can I just add
Baba.
one thing there? I went to South Goa. I went to Patnam, for example.
Beautiful.
And, I noticed that there were not many touts on that beach. There were no touts on that beach.
No, absolutely. I go there very often.
And then I asked one of the local shack owners, a Goan boy we know very well, what is the secret? He says, we the stakeholders don't allow them. They don't give them permission. So if you're seeing touts, if you're seeing guys who are being harassed by touts, it's because the shack owners or the stakeholders for that beach have allowed it to happen.
Yes.
But here again, I'm saying too, I go to Palanam on a regular basis. I love to go and play golf. And you sit on the beach and you've got 100 vendors, maybe not 56. You've got people coming by all the time in the evenings. But Walter, by 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10:30, no more music. They've got whatever. They've got each of them govern and police each other. They don't have, like, you go to Kalangut and Baga, you'll go mad. You'll go mad.
I mean, look at the music scene. Yeah, I had one of the first places. I said, listen, if you are going to do this every day, have a system. In fact, I think Michael Lobo had also suggested to the government.
Yeah.
Although a lot of people will be swearing at him, he had suggested to the government, yes, Goa is like a party scene. So give these people special licenses for clubs where the sound does not go out.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why that Goa government is dilly-dallying on this, probably because then they will not get bribed.
Yeah. Less money
And the
to be made.
bribes run into crores. I'm not talking about the birds. I'm talking about the money in crores. And then it's split up. Who wants to do drugs? Who wants to sell that? Everything is fixed. Every year, Goans are shouting, we don't want this sunburn. And every year, it's forcibly thrust on us.
And what revenue does it generate for the state? Somebody's getting rich.
Nothing.
So that's the point.
10, 15 crores for ministers.
We're going to take a
And
quick
we
break.
get the noise and the shit.
And the crap that's left behind.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Mervyn Britto Show. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to stretch our legs. We'll be right back. As always, if you want to get in touch with us, let us know. 7507-246-246. Give us a call. Send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to open up and ask Walter some more questions. I've got something so much more positive. I got to ask you about the beautiful wife, your houses here, your family in the UK. You mentioned something earlier today. You've got ministers and stuff in high places in the UK. I want to talk about that. Okay. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the one and only Walter Lobo. We're back on.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for the warning there, Mr. Barreto. Listen, we are in conversation with the one and only Mr. Walter Lobo, and we could talk till the cows come home. As a matter of fact, we keep talking and they will come home.
If there are any cows left.
There are cows left here in Goa, and the weather is chasing them, poor things. The weather's gotten really bad. Hey, what's your take on this weather? Climate change or the monsoon? Or a storm? ¿Qué es esta?
Let's put it to karma.
Where she lives? She's from Marga.
Karma
evil too long. And now you're seeing the effects, and God is showing you small reminders of how it's going to get worse until you get good. You just can't keep chopping and slashing everything, There has to be a balance.
You've abused Mother Nature, and Mother Nature's getting back to you, no?
Yes. And in Europe, I saw a coal mine. I saw a forest. My girlfriend said to me, "Oh, look, this is our jungle." I said, "Bullshit. This is not a jungle. This is I don't know what it is, but all the trees are in bloody line. And they were huge trees. You know what it was? A coal mine. Before you start digging somewhere else, you fill this up and you plant. And these were huge trees. Look at the amount of holes in Goa. I think soon they'll start drilling through us also, and we'll also have holes. Look at Panjim, how they've dug up and they're drilling and looking for what, I don't know.
Ask us. Ajwan, he'll tell you about Panjim, right? And the thrills and joys of living in Dona Paula.
Yeah, just make sure he's here for the next show and he's not disappeared in some hole.
He's fallen into a hole.
Sinkholes.
Into a sinkhole. Listen, we're going to talk about something a little bit better, something a little nicer, a little bit more positive. As much as we love Go, we could complain and whine about all the bad things that are happening. Walter, you mentioned you've got family, and you guys have been here for many, many generations in Kalanguth. But you've got family in the UK.
Yes, a lot of people, Goans, during the Portuguese time, they used to go to Bombay and work for the Raj. work for the Raj, the British. So I've had uncles who were medical chiefs in Mozambique, Angola. Then they moved to UK. Two of my cousins are MPs, Labour MPs. Not my cousins' children.
Yeah.
Keith Vaz, Valerie Vaz.
Oh, big names, yeah? Why? Well, you got big names in the family there.
They're always out there.
They've got the biggest.
They've got the biggest
gun. The Baba, small,
I am small and I'm in my domain.
So you're the king of your reign.
I really feel I am the king.
Yes.
I'm going to Osong now. My wife is Swiss. I never liked Europe,
You've been to Switzerland, no?
I loved, 6-7 times. It was like go to jail on the Monopoly board.
But
It's a beautiful country if you're a tourist, things are functional there, but after a certain time,
expensive.
Forget the money. There has to be life. There have to be kids. There have to be windows open. There has to be sunshine. You can't sit in the house all day like jail. When you're going out, you could. The way I was dressed, only a helmet, I could have gone to the moon.
Cold, is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, you can hardly feel your nuts. They've disappeared. And you can see 4 seasons in a day. Suddenly it's sunny. Okay, you don't need your jacket. It's bloody raining ice by the evening. That's even a hardcore goer.
Yeah. Switzerland.
Another thing is, let's be frank. They don't like blacks.
Yeah.
Oi.
They love darker skin, don't they? They all come here to get darker and get tanned.
They love dark skin, but they don't love dark skin there.
At home.
Yeah. And I would say this, and I can challenge anybody, even my wife. I think the most racist people in the world, the title goes to them because they don't snap at people like dogs. It's an undercurrent, and they do it very, very skillfully.
Listen, it's a brilliant country. I have to say, all these countries that rule and manage themselves, people love it. People choose to live there, and it is a different can of worms for us. It's something very different from what we're used to living when we live here. But we choose to live here. Yeah. We choose to live here, right?
They've often asked me, "Do you like Switzerland?" First few days, they looked at me suspiciously. "Do you like Switzerland?" I said no. The guy's eyes popped out. He said, "Why don't you like Switzerland?" I said, "There's no beach. The sun doesn't come out, and there's no palm trees. There's no my food, It's your country, How can I love it?"
Switzerland, Ireland, England, Scotland, all land countries there. I'm telling you. London also.
Only Goa doesn't have the land attached.
I'm telling you. I love these. I have to say, I've grown up in the States. I love the U.S., but I love Goa even more. And the fact of the matter remains, and I always tell younger people or people out there listening, if you get a chance to travel. It's the exposure. You've been abroad. You've lived abroad. You've got multiple houses and family that's everywhere, but the exposure that you would never get moving from Goa to Bombay or Hyderabad or Bangalore or Delhi, you have to experience a first world or a different culture to be able to appreciate. Whether you like it or not is up to you. You've grown up in a place like India, like Goa. Go and experience something. You can bring that back with you. You can come back and do whatever you want.
It's coming back to the same story of this American tourist asking a guy in India who's sleeping on a bench.
Correct.
"Hey, what are you doing, you lazy Indian? Get up, get yourself work, build a house, do this, do that, and then relax." And this guy turns around and asks the American tourist, "So what the fuck do you think I'm doing now?" I'm relaxing. So your opinion of how you should run somebody else's life does not matter, and it's mostly this opinion that is pushed and thrust upon everybody. Why are you sitting on a tree? Fuck it, man. Let him sit. Let him be the next Buddha.
But I think social media as well is exposing people to lots of different ways.
No,
of life.
people are insecure, so they're grouping themselves together and they say, "No, you must sit like this. No, you must stand like this." Soon there'll be, "No, you must screw also like this." It's today's Monday, it's only this post. Sorry. It's coming to that, and with the internet, it's getting more because people are not communicating. And this is a very dangerous situation. You see young couples, not only in Europe, in India also, you're sitting there and they are tick, tick, tick away.
All day long.
I'm wondering really if there's going to be an app,
People,
for making love also.
Communicating,
Come
not
online,
listening,
come
not
online,
connecting.
they'll be shouting.
Wilbert's on one of those apps today. It's called Tinder. There are lots of apps, and the age of digital technology and technology itself, even now with artificial intelligence, with all these LLMs and all the stuff that's happening, Walter, people will sit at a table, at a dinner table or in a restaurant, everybody's on their phones, and they're communicating via phones. Back in the day, you didn't even have a telephone. You had to speak and write and learn to write.
So this will be very easy because mad, stupid, crazy rulers, to get these people, because they can just make one rule and let it out. Today, don't do this. And everybody follows. It's like a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I see this happening. There's so much into internet that I think one day every government should do this. Just stop the internet for a day except essential services.
That's a great idea. A great idea.
Are we advocating that?
No,
It's not a bad idea, though.
suggestion.
I'm joking because we've
So
got an
all the
internet.
junkies can realize how far they are gone.
Yes, that's true.
One day no internet.
Of course, you can have a day off from the internet. You can have a day off.
Yeah,
from
you have
social.
mommy day, daddy day, doggy day, every day, cow day also.
We have
you
we have something like a no mozo. Is it what?
What is it? No more zone.
No motorized day. We do have that in Goa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So why can't we have a no internet day? That's an excellent idea.
Oi.
Make sure that it's on a day that
I'd
doesn't
love it.
affect.
Yeah, but you have
anybody.
to know there's a counter side to everything. Like in Mexico, every single household that's got a car, one day a week you can't take that car out. So then what happens? They get two cars instead. So they've still got a car on the road every single day, but they've got two cars instead of just one.
But that wouldn't happen with the internet, if you just cut it
Baba,
for a day or few hours. You're in the internet.
No, forget about me.
Yeah,
Forget
that's why
about
mom's
me.
keeping quiet here.
Forget it. I'd love a day off. I would love a day
digital
off. Shut it
detox.
off, dude.
People talk about digital detox. I agree. Yes, we should do that. Self-imposed.
When
No,
that
because
happens,
then it allows your brains to function. I knew this during the COVID time, and how I survived and how I helped so many other people. It was human to human.
yeah.
And we still keep in touch like that, because I don't trust digital. One wrong button and you have done something God knows what.
I agree with you 100%. But when you start shutting off the internet or even 4G or 3G or 5G on your phone through the telephone companies, I'll start growing my hair. It's never going to happen, Saib.
Yes.
And I'd love it to happen, and I'd love people to pay more attention to each other. Interact, speak, write. What happened to all these things that we did before the internet and all these advancements in technology? We learned to survive. We learned to communicate. We learned to interact.
Mo,
Yeah, I have
Yes, sir.
I have a doctor now. He tells me, book on timing, send this OTP. I have to call my cousin and I say, hey, fuck man, just check if the guy is there and tell him I'm coming, I can't sit there pressing buttons, and I'm not from the digital era. We didn't have telephones even then, Okay, we are coping up with it, but don't expect us to be experts. Pay online. The assholes don't realize that people don't have phones in India, and the government is telling us pay online because we don't bloody trust the online services.
But my mum is the same in the UK.
She stands in the line and
Yeah.
she pays her bill.
Yep.
And then the guys are saying pay online. I said, hey, listen, does your grandmother know anything about online? So shut the fuck up, and put a shade here so people don't die in the heat, and we can pay our bills. We like cash. Don't force us to be who we are not. And we came before you.
but
Mr. Lover.
You can go to your La La Land with your mobile and do your digital transactions there.
But Merv, what about this idea where Australia has approved a legislation to ban social media for people
I agree.
under 16?
Yes.
How about that?
Good. It's a good idea. That's what Walter was saying, right? It's one
Fantastic
part,
idea.
one step towards actually banning social media or
Yes.
the internet or any kind of
Yes.
technology for a day.
16, yes, because a lot, I'd say 90% of the kids are listening or looking at only shit. on
Crap.
the crap. You know, how to kill somebody. Look at the shootings in America.
That's true.
Go in the history of these guys and see if they were loners only on the internet. You know,
Very true.
90% will be. They will be not coming from a family that sits together and chats and talks.
Correct.
Below 16, the Aussies have got it right. My goodness. And somebody was calling them convicts. At least they got the brain.
I hate to be the bearer of brand news. Listen, we've chatted, we've enjoyed this, and I have to say this has been an absolute pleasure to speak to the one and only Mr. Walter Lobo here on the Mervyn Britto Show. I've got to say, Walter, there's so many topics more that I'd love to get to another date and time. We've got some really interesting guests coming up. We've got a marine biologist. We've got an economist, people that want to explain sustainable living here in Goa. There are so many good people with talent and experience that are doing so much good for the environment, for our local communities, that I'd love to showcase. And we will have them on the show in good time. But Mr. Lobo, can I tell you, you are always welcome. I will have you on the show many, many more times because you want to not only the most entertaining, but as passionate as you are, you make people laugh, but you are making a difference. The knowledge you impart and how you speak, what you say is so important, and people need to sit up and listen.
It's all for Goa.
My
If
friend-
it's going to exist as Goa.
And we need people who shoot from the hip.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't sugarcoat anything. Walter's got no ulterior motives. He's an honest guy, and he just wants to make a change and make people listen and understand that you can't keep doing the things you're doing and expect to be happy or healthy or live the way you're doing. It's not sustainable.
You just can't turn a blind eye to your mother anymore. And your mother is Goa, and you can't sit around and look at trees, forests being slashed, your rivers being sold. You know,
There are
and
so-
not stand up and speak.
Especially when
we are only about 50 guys in Goa talking about this. You know, 50 activists.
We've got some spectacular people, like you said. They're very, very knowledgeable people that are speaking about this and speaking up, and they need that platform where they can talk about it,
Yes.
and many people will listen. Walter, I would love to. I will, if you'd be kind. You've been so generous with your time today. I will definitely want to have you again, and you will be somebody that we will speak to on a very, very regular basis because I love to hear you speak, and with your passion, we will have you back on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Mervyn Britto Show. Thank you once again. We are changing. We're going to be posting. Nidhi's going to be sending a lot more reminders and shorts and reels and promoting of the show. We want to have the interactivity, and we're not implementing it right now. We're just doing a lot of testing. But we will be sending more information about upcoming guests, upcoming shows, more topics that we want to talk about. We'd love to hear from you. As always, I want to end this show with some kind of something smart or something kind to say. You will never run out of kindness, happiness, joy, love. You will never run out of it. Spread the love, spread the joy, be kind to one another. Put your damn phones down, Walter. Tell them to put their phones down. Give somebody a hug. Make somebody smile. It is contagious. Do something that you would want somebody to do to you, yeah?
Yeah, make love.
There you go. I couldn't have said that better. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Walter Lobo, thank you so much once again. We will be back here next week, 6 o'clock, on the same show, the same channel. In the meantime, take care of one another. Be kind. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.